Well, hello, and welcome back to Unlocking Digital Horizons 2024, hosted by Louise and myself, Mike Swart. Just a reminder to please post your questions in the Q&A feature located below to the chat. And when we come to our Q&A, we'll draw on the most popular questions, so please don't forget to upvote. We did have a few questions that were left over at the end of the last session, and we had a really great session in the last session, so with Yellow Hat Consulting. And so that leads me, without further ado, to welcome our keynote speaker for today, Yvonne Seleka, the Assistant Secretary for Data Services, Data and Economic Analysis Center within the Department of Home Affairs. Yvonne, I hope I've got that all right.
Absolutely right. Spot on, Mike. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to the summit. Navigating ICT's evolution and unlocking new digital horizons is a very interesting topic, and it's an important topic for organizations and for the leaders. How to maximize and optimize new capabilities offered by ICT evolution when you are a public service organization is even more thought-provoking. I would like to talk to you and focus my presentations on how this evolution supported public service. And I will try to share a few examples of how my organization, the Department of Home Affairs, and specifically the Data and Economic Analysis Center, has been trying to use ICT evolution and modernize our public sector. So without further delays, let me start. So my name is Yvonne Seleka. I'm Assistant Secretary Data Services at the Department of Home Affairs. I have been working in the ICT field for several decades. Yes, this is me in the photo. And I worked in public and private sector organizations. Like those born before 1990, I experienced personal computer technology evolution, Atari and Commodores, you can see them, and also the first IBM PC. Then as an ICT professional with a degree in computer science, I think I contributed or tried to contribute to ICT's evolution. For more than a decade, as a senior executive in federal public service organizations, I have been navigating or maybe trying to navigate the evolution from mainframe distributed system through mobile devices, cloud, and since 2019, delivering data products and data services, AI, and analytics solutions at the Department of Home Affairs. Frankly speaking, navigating ICT evolution is difficult. Is it more difficult for public service more than for a private company? It depends, and it depends on many things, and importantly, on the size of your budget and how much of that budget you can invest in innovation. Public servants often talk, and only half jokingly, about jaws of death, referring to growing demand for services and shrinking budget. So what does it mean to navigate the ICT's evolution in organizational terms and escape the jaws of death at the same time? I suggest we get some historical perspective on it, on this challenge, then explore some ideas of how it may work. And I share with you a couple of examples of what my team and I used, so we called it our way, to escape the jaws of death while following the evolution of the ICT. If we look at the history of the ICT fields and no further than last century, maybe no more than 50 years, organizations, including public service, adjusted and coped relatively well with the ICT's evolution, and they've been coping for a very long time. And somehow, with some of those evolutionary changes were felt more like disruptions and revolutions rather than a small incremental changes. Nowadays, after so many years, one you would struggle to find a business or the organization that doesn't have ICT as its backbone. So some of us lived through this evolution watching payroll systems emerge. Maybe some of you remember punch card readers as sorters. I do, somehow. The evolution, this early evolution not only helped to eliminate simple repetitive clerical tasks, but did it at scale, enabling high volume of transactions to be processed super quickly. It soon became apparent that the technology solution can help organizations to run their operations, manage resources, and assist in decision-making processes, and help organizations to achieve business objectives. The ICT's evolution enabled organizations to make operational management and strategic decisions more quickly. And not that long time ago, this is the last decade only, the speed of the decision-making has become perhaps little less important to organizations than making informed decisions, especially for public service when the agencies develop policies or manage programs, and those policies would need to and are expected to be evidence-based. The era of data services, AI, and analytics has commenced. The ICT technology evolution has enabled the data revolution. Data literacy, data quality, data management, and data privacy have become topics for organizations on the journey through the ICT's evolution. So what does history teach us? ICT's evolution taught us that productivity benefits can be certainly realized through automation. They sometimes come at high cost to organization, and they also carry inherent risk. What it has also taught us that we are able to learn and develop ways to manage and mitigate those risks. Today, everyone, organizations and individuals, critically depend on ICT without trivializing the issues. By bringing our dependency on Netflix and social media, it is often impossible to book a medical appointment, holiday, buy a ticket on a tram in Canberra, or pay for groceries without being a consumer of ICT services. I'm sure we are all experienced moment when our life seemingly stopped, when someone screamed, and it's usually a child, but there is no internet here. However, we should not keep forgetting that we have seen it all before, that the evolution from the payroll system to internet, mobile devices, and now generative AI, that organizations, public and private, were on the journey many times and seized opportunities to achieve outcomes and fulfill their missions or their goals. So what do organizations and modern public service need to do to leverage the ICT's evolution? Should we be early adopters of new technologies or wait for others to try it out first? Well, organizations need to decide which strategies is most suited to them, to their unique business model, and also to their budget. Yet leaders need to be prepared for the change, that the change is constant. So what I think leaders need to do is to approach the ICT's evolution with a longer term focus. They need to innovate, not because there is a new exciting technology or a trend or a new toy to play with, but because leaders need to be informed and develop a longer term technology perspective for the future of their organizations. Culture of innovation will help develop organization adaptability and resilience. And this way, the organizations will be prepared for the next round of evolution for the next disruption, and will be on that journey. They build their resilience. Well, sadly, our way of the department's, my department or my team's way of modernizing ICT and taking part in ICT's evolution brings me to the metaphor that in my view is fitting. So catching the ICT's evolution wave is important for the public sector. So how do we do it? In my view, just like with surfing, it's all about skill or skills and choices you make. If you are not a swimmer, first of all, you need to learn how to swim. Once you learn how to swim, you can start, or you should start practicing your new moves or moves on the beach. The first wave you catch will be a small one, and then you may fall off the board, you'll keep getting on that board time again and again and again. You will practice. You need to practice. Practice makes perfect, and you practice until you achieve the goals you set for yourself. Perhaps it was just catching the first wave. I hope this metaphor, the surfing metaphor, is not too silly for you. I'm not a surfer. I have tried to surf once, and I found it very exciting. And somehow that metaphor brings back the feeling when I first joined Home Affairs and I started surfing the ICT and data evolution wave. What was the surfing like in my case with ICT and data? Difficult at first, just like for everyone else, and then exhilarating. So what did I need to do? I started that just like you start any kind of learning. You learn to swim. I started learning basics about data, and the basics meant not to look at the technology itself. I needed to unlearn looking at the application systems, network connection platforms. But for the first time, I had to look at the data that was at the center of the organization, and the data that was in those systems and the technology platforms. For the first time, the data was not meant to be just a byproduct of a automated business process automation. Learning new concept was like learning new moves on the board. I learned about data products. I didn't know the definition of a data product. And I also learned about data product management. Discovering the theory and practice of product management was comparable to me to the feeling when you get for the first time on the board and you are standing on it and you're catching your first wave. Adoption of the product management for my teams was a game changer. For the first time, the end of the project was not only about delivering the scope and to the budget and meeting the timeframes, but was about the quality of the product, was about the meeting user needs and evolving user needs. It was freeing to realize that the concept of a project and business as usual were clearly constraining us in delivering better quality products. When you are not strong swimmer, as we all know, and you are surfing for the first time, you need to practice within the flags. So practicing within the flags meant to us we developed a data product lifecycle framework. And that framework enabled my teams to deliver products in response to organizational and environmental changes with a strong engagement from many users. about more learnings. Product management is a cradle to grave concept. You start with the idea, you build it, you consult, you engage with the users. You build products to satisfy user needs. You grow product adoption and maximize the product usage. And at all times, you look for opportunities to either enhance the product or make a calculated decision to decommission it. Does product management mean the death of project management? Of course not. Good project management practice is necessary for successful delivery of any products, but this is only one element in the life cycle of data products. The way the data analytics are being delivered involve rapid, agile builds of models to a very specific and narrow set of user needs. Once tested and deployed, the lifespan of those models may be quite short. So what good product managers, because we call them product managers, do, they constantly evaluate the models and against the user needs. They ensure reuse at the design stages. They grow user base for the product through close engagement, and they look for adaptability of the product in a wider organizational context. They also monitor product performance. Then at some stage, they do need to make a decision if the product should be replaced by a newer product, or and the old one should be decommissioned. How do we know when to decommission the product? We need to measure product performance. How many users per day use your product, and how is the user base growing or declining? I prepared a couple of slides with examples of products that we developed at the Department of Home Affairs. There are data app searches. You can see I provided a couple of older slides, but those measurements that are here on how many users per month, although a bit dated, we actually have live information, and we enable our product managers to see the trend of the usage and users and the adoption of the products. That a product development lifecycle that we designed provided us with a delivery structure and a minimum viable governance around building data products. The framework described stages of the product lifecycle, which is, well, I would say it's very similar to the software development lifecycle. But also the framework describes roles and responsibilities of product managers, product line managers, and different stakeholders who are part of that ecosystem. We have instituted and practiced this approach for the last 2 years at the Department of Home Affairs. We've started with the framework. We started training our staff as product managers and product line managers. And for the first time, we started looking 2 years ago, we started looking at how our products are performing within the organization, how popular and not popular they are. We were and we were able to decommission some of the older products, and we were also able to replace them with the new ones. I hope this is another example of the Tableau reports, quite a complex reports for management and executive dashboard that we developed and delivered and extended using the data product development lifecycle and using the product management approach. So to end this presentation, I just wanted to make a few points. Leveraging ICT to modernize public service, it's not only about introducing new technologies. It is also about adjusting the processes, your processes, to the requirements of new technologies, making sure that, like in case of my team, data assets created support organizational outcomes, support organization to achieve their goals, and do not become just legacy artifacts. I hope you agree that culture of innovation, continuous learning, and adaptability that we need to approach is critical in leveraging the ICT and data evolution. Long live data product management. Thank you.
Fantastic, Yvonne. Thank you so much. Yes, we would definitely agree that the points you make are so important, and making better decisions based on data and using that is something that we're focused on very much at ICN. We do have a few questions for you if you're happy to take them and provide some further insights, if that's okay.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, excellent. So Athy has asked us, as tech skills can become dated very quickly, what's the best way to keep up with the rapid pace of change in ICT?
Well, I probably partly is constant learning. I think we need to develop, we can never stop learning. As an ICT professional, I started as a programmer using Pascal. Who uses Pascal nowadays? Who ever heard about Pascal? Maybe some people use BASIC. I think the developing your skills is the key to it. Organizations need to support innovation, need to support you and yourself and the staff they have in developing skills, in growing the staff. I think everyone who works for ICT is actually prepared for the journey. This is the journey of inquisitivity. This is the journey of development and embracing new all the time. The change is constant.
Yeah, brilliant. Yvonne, thank you so much. And I love that analogy of the surfboard. I think if mine had to go a little bit longer, it would be the dump. And they're all over the place. And if you ask any of our staff, they'll tell you that I'm the constant challenge. But Yvonne, there's another question that's come through, and it's around which emerging technologies do you believe will have the most significant impact on modernizing the public sector in the next few years, which I think is a great question and something which I think you are well equipped to answer, because I certainly am not.
I think we do. It's a great question. I think we've got a unique position to exploit capabilities of ICT evolution. I think that public service can modernize itself, but providing we adopt innovation, providing we invest in our staff, providing we develop strategies to include innovation, that was part of my point, to include innovation as part of our strategies of embarking on new journeys with ICT. I think generative AI is such a good example of it. Look at the approach. We don't need necessarily to be early adopters in everything, but being able to assess new technology, organizing, not only using ChatGPT at home or at work, providing you've got access and you use it ethically and safely, but organizing pilots of the new technology. Copilot, Microsoft Copilot is a very good example of it. I think we just need to maintain the curiosity. We need to maintain the focus on innovation and on the benefits that the technology is going to bring.
Yeah, great. Yvonne, just I was reflecting last night on the comment that Stephen Hawking made, which was around his warning around the adoption of AI, and how, which I think you've just addressed, is almost a two-edged sword. How do we address that in our day-to-day without becoming consumed and it becoming a tool as opposed to a threat, which I think a lot of companies still see it as a bit of a threat. And you know, we've got this this perception that it could potentially take over the world if we look at the far end. What's your perspective on that, Yvonne?
I think what we've witnessed since November 2022, I think, when ChatGPT was released publicly, is kind of a usual hype cycle. So the first stage of that cycle is almost, I would call it, a mass hysteria. Yes, the robots and AI will take over the world. AI has been around for a very long time. It's just came in another packaging that suddenly became apparent that it could be such a useful productivity tool. But yes, there are risks. And I think developing frameworks, that was another point in my presentation, develop frameworks that gives you this kind of safety barrier. Do not embark on unknown. If you can't swim, don't start swimming in the ocean. Another thing is that probably more concerns about generative AI is, from my perspective, is the cost of setting up for, especially for the public sector and smaller private organization, the startup cost to start playing in ChatGPT space, in generative AI. You need to invest a lot of money because you need to learn. So perhaps for modern public service, it's better not to be the first adopter. It's better to watch for a while, learn on small projects, use Copilot, develop those lessons learned, and then embark on a wider, longer journey. But it is possible, and it's a fantastic tool that I'm sure it's already benefiting public service. Brilliant.
Great answer.
Yeah, that was a really good one. I was going to ask you about the cost can be overwhelming, particularly for smaller businesses. So while we all talk about agility and innovation, sometimes taking a step back and observing can be quite useful in working out what your next step is. So, well, look, thank you very much, Yvonne. We really appreciated your contribution today. That was very insightful and has given us a lot to think about.
Yeah, I don't have the hand clapping emoji.
Yeah, that's right.
Yvonne, but
thank you very much for inviting me. That was really great.
Wonderful.
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
We are going to take a short break now, and so we're asking everybody to please be back online at 10:40. Next, after that, our short break, will be joined by Chris Anderson, who's going to be talking to us about smart and sustainable real estate.